morning. This is Keloland on the go with all you need to know in news and weather as you start your day.
We're hoping to learn more about a Lincoln County crash that left 2 people dead. A truck collided with a train south of Harrisburg around 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon.
In addition to the 2 deaths, one person was airlifted to a Sioux Falls hospital with life-threatening injuries. No names have been released at this time. South Dakota's Highway Patrol is investigating the crash and will release more details today. A man is dead following a house fire in Canton. Crews from Canton, Harrisburg, and Worthing responded to the call a little after 2 p.m. on Tuesday. The fire burned out windows, the roof, and much of the siding. Crews battled the fire for 4 hours and then recovered the body of a man who lived in the home. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. Sioux Falls police are investigating a report of a shooting and stolen car outside a gas station at 12th Street and West Avenue. But the man who claimed to be the victim is the one who ended up behind bars. Police say 23-year-old Isaiah Ford called 911 Tuesday night around 8 o'clock. He told police someone shot at him and stole his car. He said he had his own gun, so he shot at them as they drove away. But police say that's not exactly what happened. Ford ended up in the Minnehaha County Jail, accused of filing a false report.
It was noted that his car was stolen, but unfortunately the part about people in the car shooting at him was not true.
Ford appeared in court Wednesday afternoon, but at last report, police were still looking for the person or people who stole his car.
An SDSU football player is facing charges for petty theft. According to court documents, the alleged crimes were committed June 22nd. 24-year-old senior cornerback Malik D. Lofton faces 2 counts of petty theft.
The charges were filed on September 22nd. Lofton was released from jail on Tuesday.
Now let's get a check of our forecast with meteorologist Scott Munn. Snow on the way, Scott.
Snowy Scott. We'll just, yeah, we could say that. That's fine because we do have snow in the forecast. As we go through the day today into tonight, some may linger into tomorrow morning. And then we have another system for next week that will bring in possibly of heavy snow in the parts of western and northern Keloland. So for today, let's go with highs in the 30s. We'll go with the increasing cloud cover, increasing chances for that wintry mix. We do have numerous winter weather advisories that start this afternoon and last into tomorrow morning. Light icing is possible. Things may start as freezing drizzle or freezing rain, and then we'll just go with a widespread, on average, 2 to 5 inches of snowfall. And that's our forecast in Sioux Falls, 2 to 5, 4 to 7 Yankton area, and those numbers do taper off as you work your way to the north and to the west. More details on that forecast coming up.
Thank you, Scott. South Dakota lawmakers from both sides of the aisle are supporting efforts to build a new state penitentiary.
Governor Kristi Noem is calling on the legislature to spend $52 million for engineering and design costs, as well as purchasing land for a new facility. Parts of the penitentiary date back to 1881, before South Dakota was a state.
The building is too old. It makes it really hard to, it makes staffing more of a challenge. It makes safety more of a challenge.
State Senator Reynold Nessebar says a new penitentiary also needs to include programs for inmates to seek help for addiction and mental health. Coming up later this morning, you can learn about the latest sustainability efforts in Sioux Falls. The Big Sioux River and Sustainability Summit gets underway at the Sioux Falls Convention Center at 8 a.m. and goes until 5 o'clock today.
The event will feature speakers, an address from Mayor Paul Tenhaken, and time for networking. The 2 keynote presentations will cover water and sustainability topics and initiatives in the Sioux Falls region. The event is free and open to the public. You do not need to register to attend. South Dakota Game Fish and Parks is helping new waterfowl hunters get into the outdoors. The Waterfowl Access Decoy Loaner Trailer is the latest addition to the Brookings County Outdoor Adventure Center. The trailer was put together with various donations and has everything people need to get started with waterfowl hunting.
You just kind of stop in and we can kind of give you a little overview of what you got to do. You can take this anywhere in the state of South Dakota, and you must be 19 years of age to use this loaner trailer.
This trailer is open to the public until the end of the season, which varies depending on your location. A ride on the Ferris wheel is raising money and spirits for kids at the Sanford Children's Hospital. Shields in Sioux Falls is hosting its Miracle Wheel fundraiser until December 20th.
All proceeds from Ferris wheel rides will benefit Sanford's Children's Hospital. They'll also be donating 50 plush puppies for every $1,000 raised.
the kids arrive, there's always a welcoming package there, and so for us to be able to have something to give to those kids, I think is a pretty big deal.
Whenever a child comes to the castle, we try our best to make it not seem so scary, to make it not look like a hospital. So the Child Life team takes more of those donated toys and sets them up on their bed. They're age appropriate, they're fun, they're playful, so that it looks like they're going to have a fun time, even though they are there for a medical need.
The plush puppies will be delivered to Sanford Children's Hospital the week before Christmas.
And that's a look at some of our top stories.
Now let's get one last look at your weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens. Brian?
All right, our weather forecast update here. We're looking at snow and initially here some freezing precipitation. We'll call that a light mixed bag, if you will, for Sioux Falls or the southeast corner of South Dakota. So bottom line is hazardous winter driving conditions. And for Sioux Falls, start timeline on the advisory is 3 o'clock. I would say your accumulating snows will actually be after that, probably closer to the dinner hour this evening. You look at Futurecast, and we are definitely watching Nebraska there with that snow developing. And then throughout the day part forecast, just saturating the atmosphere here in the southeast. And with those numbers getting closer to freezing, that lends itself to, again, these numbers that mix precipitation, certainly seeing some of that pink showing up on Futurecast, Yankton, Vermilion, Lamar's, Iowa. Sioux Falls, 5, 6 o'clock. I would advertise more snow, and then that line will likely drift north toward Brookings and eventually tries to touch Watertown. Watertown's more on the edge of this. And keep in mind that as this whole thing wraps up, it's a fast movers. So even daybreak tomorrow morning, I think we're just about done. Maybe some leftovers in northwest Iowa and southwest Minnesota. Okay, a little quick update here. We are going more than 1 to 2 on our numbers in Chamberlain. We're just re-ratcheting some new data on that. Sioux Falls 2 to 5 still is in the forecast. And I think southwest Minnesota, northwest Iowa, you folks will end up getting the most with today's system. Next week, this is an entirely different look at things here. We've got a large low pressure area coming out of the Rockies, Four Corners low, if you will. Now, you get into storm tracks and all of these things next week. The most confident piece we have is the large scope of precipitation that comes out. We are in a drought year. We're in a drought cycle. This is a big difference from what we've seen for a long, long time. A major low like that actually taps the Gulf, and you've got rain and snow plastered throughout big chunks of whole states. And that's what we think will happen next week as this thing slows down. Now, you want to get into the particulars, and we're not going to go there yet. But I will tell you that on the northwest side of this low, it's extremely likely that we will have a major snowstorm. I also think it's extremely likely that we will get some hefty rains on the front end of this system. And again, all the keys to the timing, how long it stalls here. If it gets into this stalling pattern, which seems to be the biggest driver to the longevity and the duration and the intensity of the precipitation, that's our number one key here, is to iron out those details as the storm actually finds an exit point as it turns around and probably heads through maybe the Great Lakes or the Ohio Valley late next week. That is an oddball forecast a little bit. Usually these lows will come through here. They may slow down, but this one may have to stall or move around some of that blocking in Canada. So those are some items I would definitely, make sure we're paying attention to. Here's another thing. This is why we're mentioning this so much. The chance of 6 inches of snow next week in big chunks of western and northern South Dakota already in the high range. And that alone is a big cause for thinking about next week and how you're going to be seeing changes in your plans, and it's going to affect a lot of things in certain areas. Maybe not necessarily Sioux Falls all the time. There's all that debate, too, to go on here. So as we wrap it up today, 30s out there. I expect that rain or freezing rain, freezing drizzle, snow combo affects Sioux Falls initially late this afternoon. Tonight, we're all snow. I think it'll be in the 20s overnight. And then tomorrow, we're going to go back to highs into the 30s for a lot of folks. So we don't really get any cold air behind this first system. Even initially with that system next week, will be actually above freezing. So it will rain in Sioux Falls next week. It's just about how much. It could be a significant amount of rain, a half an inch to an inch of rain could be a starting point on this. And then at some point there's snow, but how long or what point does that come in? Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. Now, if you're in Aberdeen, being farther north, more likely that it's going to be all frozen. And we could get a scenario next week for parts of the north that could really alter the landscape a lot. Some hefty snow, enough to really foul up some plans if you've got different things going on next week. So keep watching this weather for Pierre and Rapid. I would also say those two communities as well could have some really powerful weather next week with some snow. We just got to iron out who gets what. Check out a few more of the details with our Storm Center update at KENOLAND.com.